Breaking update for drivers in the US. If you plan to be on the road in January 2026, several states are rolling out or expanding new traffic and compliance rules that can affect everyday motorists. These aren't changes that only matter to people doing anything extreme. A lot of the impact comes from normal, routine habits that used to be tolerated or lightly enforced. And here's why this matters financially. The cost of a ticket is often only the first layer. The bigger hit can come later through insurance pricing, added fees, points, required courses, or administrative holds that make renewals harder. Some states are already enforcing parts of these updates, and early expansion is exactly how many drivers get caught off guard. By the time it feels new, it's already active. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we focus on practical policy changes that can influence daily life and real money without drama or hype. Today's topic is 7 driving law and enforcement trends that are expected to matter more in 2026, how people are getting flagged, and what you can do now to lower your risk. Quick note before we begin, traffic laws and penalties vary by state and city. So think of this as a roadmap of national trends with the reminder that you should always verify the details where you live or where you'll be driving. The first change is the one many people assume they already understand: distracted driving and hands-free rules. Yes, hands-free requirements have existed for years in some places. The difference going into 2026 is wider adoption, stricter definitions, and higher penalties. More states are tightening what counts as a violation, and some are increasing fines, adding points, or escalating consequences for repeat offenses. What's catching people off guard is how broad the rules can be. In many areas, it's no longer just texting while driving. Simply holding a phone while operating a vehicle can qualify, even if you're stopped at a light or in traffic, because the law focuses on the phone being in your hand while you're behind the wheel with the vehicle running. Financially, the ticket is only part of it. A distracted driving citation can also influence insurance pricing, sometimes for several years. That's why the safest approach is clear and consistent. Mount the phone before you start driving, use voice controls or your car's built-in system, and if you truly need to handle something, pull over and park first. It's inconvenient for a minute, but it can prevent a much longer and more expensive problem. The second change is the growth of automated enforcement. Speed cameras and red light cameras are expanding in more areas, including school zones, busy corridors, and suburban locations. At the same time, some jurisdictions are reducing the buffer that used to exist before a camera would trigger. That means the flow of traffic mindset is less reliable. A small amount over the limit can be enough in certain places, and red light systems may be stricter about timing and stop lines. The biggest issue with automated enforcement is that it often arrives later. You don't get stopped, you don't get immediate feedback, and you may only find out when a notice shows up at your home. Even when these are treated as civil violations, they can still create expensive headaches, especially if ignored. Late fees, collections, registration issues, and other administrative penalties can compound quickly depending on where you live. The practical defense here is basic and unexciting. Stay closer to posted limits in camera-heavy areas, don't push yellows, and treat known enforcement zones with extra caution. The third change is around impaired driving standards. Several states are exploring lower BSE limits or stricter enforcement policies, and the overall direction is toward less tolerance. This is important because many people base decisions on how they feel, but legal thresholds don't measure confidence. They measure a number. At lower limits, the margin for error shrinks. 1 or 2 drinks could be enough to put some people close to a threshold, depending on body size, timing, food, and other factors. And the consequences of an impaired driving charge can be severe. Fines, required programs, license restrictions, higher insurance premiums, and added fees that can follow you for years. The practical takeaway is straightforward. If you drink at all, plan a ride. It's not about fear, it's about avoiding a risk that can be financially and legally disruptive even when you believe you're fine. The fourth change involves vehicle fees and emissions policies. As electric vehicles become more common, many states are adjusting how they fund roads. Some are adding or increasing EV registration fees. Others are testing mileage-based fee structures. None of this means EVs are bad, but it does mean the total cost of ownership can change, and drivers should budget accordingly. On the gasoline side, emission standards and testing rules may tighten in certain regions. For older vehicles, that can lead to surprise repair costs or delays in registration renewal if a vehicle doesn't meet updated requirements. If you drive an older car, one smart move is getting emissions testing earlier than you normally would, so you have time to plan rather than being forced into a decision right at renewal. The fifth change is tougher penalties around reckless driving and street racing, with broader definitions in some areas. Many drivers assume these laws only affect extreme cases, but depending on the state, reckless can include patterns of aggressive behavior, excessive speeding, unsafe lane changes, tailgating, weaving, especially when combined. The financial impact of a reckless driving charge is often much larger than a standard speeding ticket. It can involve court appearances, steeper fines, points, license suspension risk, and insurance increases that last. The best protection is also the least dramatic. Keep your driving steady, don't let frustration control decisions, and avoid escalating situations on the road. The sixth change affects license renewals in certain states, especially for older drivers. Some DMVs are expanding vision checks, knowledge testing, and in a few cases, road tests or medical documentation requirements at specific age thresholds. The goal is safety, but the experience can be stressful if it's unexpected. The easiest way to reduce disruption is preparation. Check your renewal requirements early, schedule vision exams proactively, and begin renewal well before the expiration date so you're not under pressure if something requires follow-up. The seventh change is a general increase in smaller fines and administrative enforcement in many cities and states. Parking penalties, minor moving violations, and local fee schedules are being updated in various places, often alongside stronger digital tracking and collection systems. Even when each fine seems small, costs can stack quickly if you get more than one, miss a deadline, or ignore a notice. The practical approach is to treat every notice seriously, even if you plan to contest it. Track due dates, avoid letting things roll into late fees, and don't assume enforcement is light just because it used to be. So, what should you do now, before January 2026? First, verify rules locally. These trends are national, but the details, penalties, timelines, thresholds are always state and city specific. Your DMV website and local government updates are the most reliable sources. Second, adjust habits early. The easiest way to avoid enforcement is to remove the triggers. Keep the phone mounted and hands-free, slow down slightly in high camera areas, treat yellow lights conservatively, and plan not to drive after drinking. Third, budget for ownership and compliance costs. If you own an EV, account for potential fee changes. If you drive an older vehicle, consider setting aside a small buffer for emissions-related repairs or administrative surprises. Fourth, invest in small tools that reduce risk. A solid phone mount, a reliable hands-free setup, and safe navigation habits are inexpensive compared to the cost of tickets and long-term insurance increases. And finally, treat this like personal risk management. You don't have to love every rule to protect yourself from its consequences. Being informed and proactive is the best defense. This video is for general information and education only. It isn't legal advice, and laws can change. Always confirm the rules that apply in your specific state and city. If this breakdown helped you understand what to watch for in 2026, like the video, share it with someone who drives regularly, and subscribe for more practical updates, and tell me in the comments, which of these changes do you think will impact everyday drivers the most in your area?